Nothing like America's pastime in murder to get the blood going, right? Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you'll be among the first to know. I know I am way behind. Vacations, just whatever. I haven't been able to get this. I promise you, for my Poker Face fans, because I can see you guys in the algorithm searching and looking at season ones, and I'm going to get there. I'm going to get through every episode. I promise. I will catch up sooner rather than later. Episode 5 of Poker Face season 2 is called Hometown Hero. It stars Simon Rex from Red Rocket fame, and he's if you've seen him, you know him. He's been around for quite some time. He plays an aging baseball player named Rocket, Russ Waddell, who is basically on the twilight of his career. He's coming down off of the highs that he once had. He is now playing for a minor league baseball team, and he doesn't have the stuff anymore. The juice is gone. He doesn't have the ability to throw that baseball like he used to. And he has a huge fandom. He has people that are like, oh, he still got it. He still got it. It's like those old quarterbacks that you see and you're like, there's a chance. And we might see a glimmer of hope. We may get that one more time. That's what they're hoping for Rocket. But he used to be able to throw a 100 miles per hour ball without thinking about it. And now he can't. So they've been losing a lot. And the manager of the team lets him know that he's going to get one more time to pitch. But after that, they're going to basically put him out to pasture. He's no longer going to be starting pitcher for them. But they're going to allow him to have his farewell moment. So while he's out with his teammates, they're out drinking, commiserating about the multi-loss season that they've been having so far. A quote-unquote fan comes up to them and lets them know, like, hey, you guys just won me a ton of money because I've been betting on you guys to lose. And that triggers to Rocket and the team, but more so it starts with Rocket to say, well, hold on. If people are making money off of us losing, why don't we make money off of us losing? And so his teammates all are in. One of them kind of like says, this doesn't sound like a good idea. But overall, they come to the decision pretty quickly. They go ahead and make a move to put themselves in a losing slump and make some monetary gain off of it. So they pull all their money together, put them all together, mortgage houses, loans, whatever. They put them all together to make themselves equal winners in this pot to lose the next 5 games in a row. First 4 games go off without a hit. They lose them, not even a question. Easy fashion, easy peasy. When it's time for the 5th game, which is going to be Russ's first game back up to pitch his final game, the GM lets him know that, hey, I know you said we were going to go with you, but we're not. There's this new upstart pitcher that's coming up from the minors that they want to get a look at, and they're going to put him up first. And Rocket and all the guys are like, well, hold on. We don't have as much control. If he has the stuff, we're going to be in a bit of a problem because if we win this game, that's going to screw us about all of our money. And we're right there. We put all major stuff into this. And so they're trying to figure out what it is that they need to do to make sure that this still goes the way that they need it to go. So the pitcher's name is Felix Domingo, and he has an addiction or a use of dip. And so the team, they don't all decide this, but it is decided for them that they are going to put LSD in his dip to spike it. Now, Rocket immediately is like, well, that's a terrible idea because it's a known thing that there's a baseball player who was on LSD and pitched out of his mind. And that's what happens with Felix. He pitches crazy. He's going nuts. He's throwing balls. He's not feeling his face, but he is feeling good out there on that mound. But they manage to still get in a position where they can throw the game by having like a series of errors in a way, like a hit happens and then a series of errors sort of happen. Actually, a bunt. That's what happens. The players tell the batter, like, maybe you should take a bunt here. They bunt, and then they just have a comedy of errors happen. So they still lose the game despite Felix pitching a crazy, crazy way. Now, Russ has to get rid of the evidence because people are going to come back and sort of say, like, one, if he doesn't pitch that way again, but two, Felix even realizes that he's probably high as hell right now. And so Russ goes to go remove the evidence. And so he goes to try to go find the dip to take it out and dispose of it. But Felix is already on to him. And he threatens the authorities to go to the authorities unless they give up all of the money that they make from this parlay and give it to him. In which Russ is like, that ain't happening. Which I think the pot is up to 3 million. Like they're making 3 million as a total, so it's going to be split amongst the players. So Rocket's like, nah, that ain't going down, and he manages to get the juice back up in that arm, and he throws a 101 mile per hour fastball at Felix's head and kills him instantly. So then we have to see him sort of go through the process of like in his head, how can I clean this up? And so he sets it up so as if Felix was hit and hurt by the faulty batting practice machine that shoots out the balls. And that's how his whole setup sort of comes in. Obviously, then we see the other side of it where we see that Charlie was there all the time. Charlie's a lot like Agatha and Wanda. She was Agatha all along. It was Charlie all along. She's always been there. She wound up being there as she gets a job on the team as a ball boy, ball girl, ball person for the minor league club. We follow her exploits as she gets the job on the team. She gets close with the person who manages the baseball batting cages and everything. She makes herself ingratiated with the team. After the game where Felix throws out of his mind, she runs to Felix in the locker room and she sees that he is tripping balls. She's like, oh, no, he is tripping majorly. And then she takes some of the LSD dip unknowingly and also begins to trip herself. And that's how she sort of clicks in to know, oh crap, he's tripping. She's tripping so hard that she falls asleep. And when she wakes up, she finds that Felix is dead, and it looks like it's because of the batting cage apparatus, which she knows. I've already been told that this baseball shooter doesn't shoot beyond, it doesn't get up to 100 miles per hour. So, like, how the hell would there be a ball that's fast enough to take him out? One of the baseball players that's in the parlay, Carl, comes the next day living a little bit more lavishly. He's got a grill, he's got a fur coat. Like they are not hiding the fact that they just won all this money. And Charlie asks Carl about the dip, to which Carl tries to lie, but Charlie picks up on it immediately. And then basically says, well, yeah, we did it, but we didn't want anything bad to happen. So he gives up on himself pretty quickly. But she then just starts clocking that everybody else, the other four, are being pretty flashy as well. The only one who's not is Rocket. He's smart enough to know that let me play this down low. She knows if they were high, that Felix was high, but it's not popping up on the toxicology report. So she's trying to figure out how exactly what he was spiked with and how we got to this point. The toxicology and the ME also does give away that like Felix was hit by 100 miles per hour ball. So that's what she clicks like, well, this machine can't hit that. But I do know somebody who could at some point in time, but everybody has told me that he doesn't have it anymore. What could push him to that point? And so she tests Rambo, which is the baseball machine, to see if it can do it. And she's like, nope. She does multiple tests. It can't shoot that high. She calls Russ down to sort of like talk to him while this is happening and says, hey, do you know anybody else on this team who can throw 100 miles per hour? And he's like, no one on the team can do that. No one could but me. He's like, but I can't do that anymore. To which Charlie clocked that was a lie. It wasn't a lie when she ran into him earlier a couple games ago, and he's like, yeah, I don't have the stuff anymore. She's like, well, that's good. He wasn't lying then. He is now, which lets her to believe like, okay, hold on. Something's amiss. After realizing that Russ rockets in on everything, Charlie sort of sets him up and says that there's a scout coming to the next game and that this would probably be a good time for him to prove that he can throw his stuff in front of everybody. Now, mind you, it is the only thing that is keeping him from being able to say that he had nothing to do with this, to say that he can't throw that heat anymore. But she's put in a situation where his desire to go to the majors is so strong that he kind of is going to forget that piece. And so he gets out there on the mound and he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. But then he sees the scout there with one of the speed guns to test his fast his ball is. And you can see that he's disappointed. Like, nah, this ain't it. And then he throws that heat. Throws it. And the scout clocks it. And it goes above. And immediately the scout, quote unquote, stands up, takes off his clothes, takes off his get up, and realizes that he is a police officer, undercover cop. And then you start seeing The other undercover cops that are at the game sort of start swarming in, but they allow him to at least finish the game. He gets to still go out and finish the game that he has. And Charlie sort of gives him the nod, and he gives the nod back sort of as a coup of respect to say, yeah, you got me. And then she's like, you still got it. It's a weird sort of thing. And then that's the episode. I'm going to say this. This episode has a great deal of great setup. The setup, the stuff with the baseball players, the stuff up with the side characters. We have an announcer that is very recognizable from Saturday Night Live that we just don't do anything with. We have a lot of setup for this episode that ends so quickly and so abruptly that I was like, wait, that's the episode? Like we're done here? It doesn't feel like this is a fully developed and fully cooked crime and episode. I wish there was a little bit more thought into sort of Charlie having to figure things out. Everything was really easy for her in this one. And so I think Simon does a great job as Rocket. You feel sort of this beat down old school player who just doesn't have it, and sort of this is his last hurrah. You feel all of that. But as a whole, the story feels like it's very one-sided, where the setup is great and then they just drop us off of the cliff. And so far this season, I have not yet watched. I know I'm behind, but I have not yet watched episodes 6, 7, and 8. This has been the worst episode that I've seen so far this season. And I know people feel one way or another about the alligator episode. I actually love that episode. This episode, though, just feels so undercooked and underdeveloped. It feels rushed. And so I think it's a shame in that we have so many key players and so much good stuff happening that then once the murder happens and sort of Charlie is put on the board, it just feels like we're racing to the end. It's like, well, I don't really have a story here, so I'm just going to move on. It sucks because I think there's a lot that's working in this episode. That said, not all of them are going to be knocks. I was going to use it. I'm going to still use it. I'm going to use the corny dad joke. Not all of them can be home runs. And so that's where this one sort of sits on the scale of the season. What did you guys think about this episode of Poker Face Season 2 called Hometown Hero? We'll leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that plays podcasts, we're there. I will be getting up to date on these Poker Face episodes, folks. So hang in there with me. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.